I started as a pianist many years ago, when I was a little boy, and then I got a scholarship to a music college when I was 10, which meant that I could go to music college on a Saturday, when I wasn't in school. And then I went to big school and then to university. I went to Cambridge University as an organ scholar, which means Cambridge is made up of lots of great colleges all mixed together to form the university. And each college has a chapel because they've been there since the 16th century. And so I was the organ scholar for Magdalen College, Cambridge. And at that stage, I was still going to do something other than music. My parents, I'm from a working class background, and my parents thought that music was a crazy thing to do and you would never do it as a career. So all the way through the first 2 years of my degree, I was studying English. I was going to be an English teacher or whatever. But I was playing the organ, obviously, and I also played the cello, so I was playing in orchestras and went to youth orchestras and European youth orchestras. And at the end of the second year of university, I thought, I'm bored by English. I like it, but I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. So I thought, when have I been truly happy? When have I really enjoyed life to the full? And I thought, actually, it's when I was in orchestras as a cellist on these youth courses in Salzburg or Vienna, and you get up at 8:30 and at 9 o'clock you do some string quartets, and then you'd be in the orchestra until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you might do some jazz in the evening. And so it was full on music for a week or a fortnight, and I just adored it. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a musician. And my father said to me, you're crazy. You'll never make a living being a musician. And I was very lucky, so I did music for the second part of the degree, and I was invited to be the assistant musical director of Jesus Christ Superstar, a musical in the West End. And from then on I became musical director of Superstar and Evita and Cats and Phantom of the Opera and various other shows. So there was about the first 15 years of my career was conducting shows in the West End. Because I was an organist, I understood how to create sounds by putting stops out. I understood how you built a sound, and I'd done physics to a fairly intense level. So when synthesizers came along, I understood how to create a sound. And because I'm a musician, I could then play it. Now, there were lots of musicians who could play what was required for film music, but couldn't create the sounds. And there were lots and lots of technicians who could create the wonderful sounds, but couldn't play the music. And fortunately, I was somebody who managed to be able to do a bit of both. So, along with conducting West End shows, I was in the studio as a player, working on things like Superman and Star Wars and those sorts of things. And that's when I saw really fabulous film composers operating. And it's something that and in the studio environment where what's being talked about is just the music. And that's very different from when you're doing a show where the music is just part of a whole deal that's going on. So I determined that I wanted to do that. So I became somebody who, first of all, as a player and then as a conductor, went into film studios and then onto the concert platform. And from then on, it sort of spiraled, and that's where I am now. My approach to conducting is, how can I inspire the players under my baton to just go that extra mile? This makes no sound, for which many people are very grateful. What you try to do as a conductor is not actually with the baton, it's with the mind and with the eyes and with the feelings. And what I hope to do is to get this group of players to find something more in the music and to just create something extra in the performance. And you can tell that, and it's quite palpable. The music starts to rise, it starts to float. And there's a moment where you can put the baton down and you can say to the orchestra, just play. and they will know what's required, and it'll come together. And so, a long time ago, I resolved that if somebody comes in wrong in an orchestra, the first person who you should blame is yourself. That you haven't been clear enough, you haven't been thinking with enough intensity. If you're able to project your vision, your oral vision, to the orchestra, they'll know what to do, just by the strength of your personality. Well, traditionally, a prom concert, especially this last night of the prom concert, is a celebration of lots of forms of music. It's an opportunity for an audience who have, in the London proms, or the Albert Hall proms, have listened for the last 20 concerts, 25 concerts, to all sorts of classical music, to have fun with music, and to, if you like, let their hair down. It's a time when they can make rude noises, it's a time when they can blow raspberry, it's a time when they can clap along, it's a time when they can cheer. It's a time for, after the strictures of being very careful and very precise, having just a bit more freedom, a bit more flexibility. And so that's what we tried to bring to this concert, without it being specifically British or English. The whole thing about the last night of the proms now, and I hope you saw it, or your viewers saw it, when they watched the television video cast, is you see not simply a British flag, you see a South African flag, you see a European Union flag, you saw the Norwegian flag, you see the Swedish flag, the Danish flag. It is about people coming together and celebrating a night of fun with music. I'll tell you how it happened. A long time ago, in 1988, I was playing the piano in a concert we had done at the Royal Festival Hall in London. And the conductor, who was a colleague of mine, was invited to go to a Danish city. I'm not going to name what it was, but a Danish city, not Copenhagen. So in order to get to this Danish city, one had to change planes. And the colleague decided that he wasn't able to change planes. And so he said, would I do it? And yeah, of course, I'd love to do it. So I arrived as, if you like, the assistant or the deputy or the replacement conductor for my colleague. And everything started from there. Everything in Denmark started from that one tiny little event, or event that wasn't supposed, excuse my cough, I've got a cold at the minute, that wasn't really supposed to lead to anything particular. And it's been great fun, because what is nice about working with orchestras over a period of time is that you get to trust each other. That it's a bit like seeing old friends. You already know each other, so you don't have to go through the rigmarole, hello this and hello that and all that. You just start in, and that means you start from the third floor of your building rather than the basement. After this, I was actually looking in the diary, I've got 2 concerts with the Royal Philharmonic at the Albert Hall, and then I've got some studio work on a movie. Then I've got to do a bit of writing for some theatre work. So there's a whole, there's a selection of bits and pieces. In England, there's a saying that a moving target is more difficult to hit. And that I like to think of my career as a sort of moving target, that every time somebody takes aim and says, let's take him out, he's gone somewhere else. I like to feel, look, music exhilarates me and enchants me in all its forms and in all its contexts. And I love the fact that I'm fortunate enough to have the possibility to work in loads and loads of different countries and in different circumstances, be it recording studios, be it open air concerts, be it large audiences or small groups.